Guys, Mishka here. So it's been a month, and while my channel does aim to make light out of violin, the violin is a very serious pursuit. Almost more so than anything else, the amount of effort you put into this instrument is exactly what you're going to get out of it. So at the end of every progress update, I also want to make a video of my key takeaways, things that I found that really helped improve my performance in this period. I want to identify some of the areas of weakness that I, in addition to others, saw, and try to lay out a roadmap for how we're going to proceed from here and what we can focus on to really know to get some improvements going. So, first key takeaway from your first month of violin is going to be establishing time management and focusing on objective based practicing as opposed to arbitrary time goal based practicing. When I first picked up the instrument, I was dedicated, I was determined, my enthusiasm was at a high. I thought I was going to be on the instrument 4 hours a day, 7 days a week. As a beginner, this is unrealistic. I'll tell you, as you play violin and as you increase your arsenal of technique, the repertoire and pieces you're going to know, your practice time will increase. There's going to be dedicated time to maybe practicing your vibrato, practicing your martelé bowing, learning the last eight standard measures of the piece that you're working on for your performance a few weeks away. But while you're a beginner, we don't have all these tools in our arsenal to develop. And I'll be honest, a straight 4 hour session of open bowing, not even understanding fingerings on first position, will cause fatigue, will demoralize you intensely. So first and foremost, I would say, when you're beginning on the violin, establish objectives that you'd like to try to reach for each practice session, and also understand the violin is a marathon. The violin is not a sprint. There will be times you'll be practicing technique, you'll be practicing your fingerings. Things aren't going to click. Your muscles just aren't going to move the way you want them to. You table it, rest a little, come back, attack it again the next day. It's if you sit there, you put your violin in your hand and you say, I'm not moving until this is perfect, I promise you will go insane. But with that being said, if you focus on objective-based practice, if you focus on smaller increments but of attentiveness and of focus, you will see a significantly larger performance increase. When I was practicing 4 hours a day, realistically, an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes were spent practicing, improving. The rest of the time was spent, checking my phone, thinking of videos, thinking of memes, waiting for the practice to end, holding myself to this, arbitrary standard that wasn't improving my skill set, wasn't building muscle memory, didn't help anyone in the slightest. So establishing time management, knowing what you want to do when you sit down to practice, and not necessarily saying you have to for this long, but maybe getting 10 reps in of, a G major scale up and down, doing it until it's clean, will generally get you a lot further. So leading on, our second biggest takeaway from the first month of violin is going to be reducing muscle strain and tension. Relative to time management, when our mind starts to wander, we've been sitting there for 40 minutes, we're not thinking about what we're actively doing, we could be reinforcing bad muscle memory. If we're playing from our bow hold down to our instrument hold, down to the posturing of our wrist, we should be minimalizing tension, we should be flowing, we should be free. With that being said, the violin is a lot of unnatural body movements. Your body has no point of reference. Your body's not felt some of these positions before. There's going to be natural tension felt the moment you enter these stances and these holds and these positions. That's to be expected. In addition to the mental of learning violin, the memorization, learning to read your music, learning to sight read, some of the theory, you also have to understand this is almost like a mini gym session for your forearms, for your fingers, for this part of your hands. You're going to be building muscle strength and memory. You're going to be experiencing fatigue. You're going to be exhausted, but making sure our fundamentals are solid in regards to a comfortable bow hold where we can freely move our hands, do what we will, and we don't feel strain or pressure on our collarbone, neck, or under our chin. That's going to ensure, one, we can extend our practice sessions and that we're not arbitrarily feeling fatigue early and ending them short. And two, you may not realize it, but every one of these points of tension and every one of these strains you feel is going to affect your tone. A lot of student tone is going to be muscles tensing when we don't want them to tense, our bow hold turning into a bow grip. Keep in mind, you have the Franco-Belgian hold, you have the Russian grip. You should never be gripping your bow. We should be holding our bows. But muscle tension is going to be the biggest determining factor in regards to building your tone, extending your practice sessions. So, for your first month, establish time management, know exactly what you want to do when you're picking up your instrument for your practice routine, reduce muscle tension, reduce strain, be actively thinking about this when you're practicing at all times. If you're not actively thinking about such at all times, it will affect your tone, you will reinforce negative muscle memory, this will not be good, and again, you'll be sounding like a student 3 years from now. In our progress video, if you saw, first and foremost, my right hands immediately started locking up. You can see slight instances of bow bounce in my performance. This ties into the fact I am death gripping my bow, and this ties into the fact that in my forearm there is tension here, there is tension here. Imagine holding a pencil in your hand and trying to draw a straight line with a piece of chalk on the chalkboard. Keep your arm entirely tense, try to draw that straight line. Now be entirely free and flowing and try to draw that straight line. I promise you, your second line's going to come out much straighter. So this arm tension, this finger tension led to my bow bounce and led to a sacrifice in my tone. For the next month coming up, we are going to focus specifically on loosening up our bow arm and our bow holds, completing our fingerings in the first position, and adding some musicality to Twinkle Twinkle. We're not going to attack every song just yet. We'll hold that off to the third month. We want to secure fundamentals, remove bow bounce, and try to see how far we can get away from student tone in this short period of time. We're not going to eliminate it, but we're going to minimize it. So with that being said, guys, my 2 key takeaways from your first month of playing violin, improvements I myself can make based upon the video I showed you all. Looking forward to month 2. Let's see what I learn, and let's see where we go from here.